crazy how one small comment from someone can ruin your whole day.
Someone raises their voice at you. Your chest tightens, your jaw locks. You feel it coming. That wave of anger, that sting of hurt. And for the next 3 hours, you replay it. What they said, how they said it, the look on their face. Maybe it wasn't even that serious. Maybe it was just a tone, a glance, silence when you expected warmth. But somehow, it got under your skin, and you don't know why you can't just let it go. Here's what no one told you. The problem isn't them. It never was. The problem is that your emotional system is wired for survival in a world that no longer exists. And until you understand that, people will keep triggering you. Not because they have power over you, but because you haven't reclaimed it yet. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why you get triggered and how to become emotionally untouchable. Why people trigger you. The real psychological root. Let's start with the truth. When someone triggers you, they're not creating pain. They're activating pain that was already there. Think of it like this. If I press on healthy skin, you feel pressure. But if I press on a bruise, you feel agony. The same touch. Completely different reaction. That's what triggers are. Emotional bruises. Old wounds that never fully healed. And every time someone says something that resembles the original injury, a dismissive comment, a cold shoulder, a raised voice, your brain doesn't think. It reacts. This isn't weakness. It's your nervous system doing what it was designed to do, protect you. The problem is, it's protecting you from threats that don't exist anymore. Emotional sovereignty begins when you stop blaming people for touching your bruises and start healing them. Your nervous system is the problem, not people. Your brain has an alarm system. It's called the amygdala. When it senses danger, it floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Heart rate spikes, muscles tense, rational thinking shuts down. This was useful when danger meant a predator in the grass, but now danger looks like a passive-aggressive text, an awkward silence, someone not texting back. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a lion and a disapproving look from your mother. It responds to both with the same emergency protocol. This is why you can't think clearly when you're triggered. You're not supposed to. Your body's in survival mode, and survival doesn't require wisdom. It requires speed. The key to emotional regulation isn't controlling your thoughts. It's training your nervous system to stop sounding the alarm when there's no fire. Emotional overload and unprocessed pain. Every emotion you've ever suppressed is still in your body. You didn't let it go. You pushed it down. When you were young, you learned that certain emotions weren't safe. Maybe anger got you punished. Maybe sadness got you ignored. Maybe fear made you a target. So you did what any intelligent child would do. You hid them. But emotions don't disappear when you hide them. They accumulate. They form pressure. And when you are already carrying a lifetime of unexpressed grief, even a small frustration can feel like an explosion. This is emotional overload. It's not that you're too sensitive. It's that your emotional capacity is already full, and there's no room left for anything new. Healing means emptying the container, processing what you've been carrying, and finally, giving yourself permission to feel. Hypervigilance. Why you expect attack. If you grew up in an unpredictable environment, where love could turn to rage without warning, where safety was never guaranteed, you developed a skill called hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is the constant scanning for threats. It's reading every facial expression, analyzing every word choice, searching for the hidden meaning behind the silence. It kept you safe once, but now it keeps you exhausted. When you're hypervigilant, you're never truly present. You're always bracing for impact. And because you expect attack, you find it, even where it doesn't exist. A neutral comment becomes criticism. A delayed response becomes rejection. A moment of distance becomes abandonment. Inner stillness becomes possible when you realize you are no longer in danger. The war is over. Your body just hasn't gotten the message. Rejection, sensitivity, and inner child wounds. Somewhere inside you, there's still a child who needed something they didn't get. Validation, protection, unconditional love, a parent who showed up. That child is still waiting, still hoping, still scanning every relationship for the love that was missing. This is why rejection hurts so much. It's not just about the person in front of you. It's about every person who ever made you feel like you weren't enough. When your partner pulls away, you don't just feel distance. You feel abandoned. When your friend cancels plans, you don't just feel disappointed. You feel forgotten. The present moment gets hijacked by the past. The inner child doesn't need someone else to heal it. It needs you. It needs you to finally say, I see you, I hear you, and I'm not leaving. Why you take everything personally. Here's a hard truth. Most of what people do has nothing to do with you. Their mood, their tone, their silence, their coldness. It's almost always about them. But when your identity is fragile, when your sense of self depends on how others perceive you, everything feels like a verdict. You take things personally because deep down, you're still looking for proof. Proof that you matter. Proof that you're worthy. Proof that you're safe to be yourself. And when someone's behavior suggests otherwise, even slightly, it threatens the very foundation of who you believe you are. The antidote isn't thicker skin. It's a stronger core. When you know who you are, deeply, unshakably, other people's opinions become information, not identity. How to build inner stillness. Stillness isn't the absence of chaos. It's the presence of an unshakable center. Think of a hurricane. The outer bands are violent, destructive, chaotic. But at the center, there's calm, complete silence. That center is what you're building. The practice is simple but not easy. Learn to pause between stimulus and response. Someone says something. You feel the surge. And instead of reacting, you breathe. You observe. You ask, what is this really about? Every time you do this, you strengthen the gap between trigger and reaction. Over time, that gap becomes your freedom. Start with 5 seconds. 5 seconds of stillness before you speak. That's enough to change the trajectory of your entire emotional life. How to stop absorbing other people's emotions. Some people walk into a room carrying a thunderstorm, and if you're not careful, you'll leave drenched. Emotional absorption happens when you don't know where you end and others begin. Their anxiety becomes your anxiety. Their anger becomes your anger. You take on burdens that were never yours to carry. This often comes from childhood, where you learned to monitor the emotional climate to stay safe. You became an expert at reading rooms, predicting moods, managing other people's feelings. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for other people's emotions. You can witness them. You can have compassion for them, but you don't have to carry them. Mental clarity comes when you learn to separate empathy from absorption. Feel with people, not for them. How to set boundaries without saying a word. The most powerful boundaries aren't spoken, they're felt. When you're grounded in your own worth, you carry a different energy. You don't argue. You don't defend. You don't explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is calm dominance, not aggression, not submission. Just a quiet certainty that says, I know who I am, and I won't abandon myself to make you comfortable. Nonverbal boundaries look like Maintaining composure when someone tries to destabilize you. Choosing silence over reaction. Walking away without explanation when your peace is threatened. Real power doesn't announce itself. It simply is. How to control your state. When someone pushes your buttons, you can't always control the trigger, but you can always control your state. The moment you feel activated, your body is no longer in the present. It's in the past, reliving old pain. The goal is to bring it back. First, slow your breathing. Long exhales. This signals to your nervous system that you're safe. It interrupts the stress response at the biological level. Second, ground yourself. Feel your feet. Notice the temperature of the room. Name 5 things you can see. This pulls you out of the emotional spiral and into your body. Third, ask yourself, is this reaction proportional to what's happening right now? Or am I responding to something older, deeper, unresolved? State control isn't suppression, it's recalibration. You're not ignoring your emotions, you're choosing not to be hijacked by them. How to become emotionally independent. Emotional independence doesn't mean you don't need people. It means your peace isn't held hostage by them. You can love someone without needing them to behave a certain way for you to be okay. You can want connection without making your well-being contingent on receiving it. This is the difference between wanting and needing. Wanting is healthy. Needing is dependency. And dependency creates desperation, which makes you reactive. Emotional independence is built by becoming your own source of validation, becoming your own sense of safety, learning to meet your own needs first, not because others don't matter, but because you matter too. When your cup is already full, you stop waiting for others to fill it. The final formula for becoming emotionally untouchable. Here's the formula. Write it down. First, awareness. Notice when you're triggered. Name the emotion. Recognize that it's coming from somewhere older than this moment. Second, regulation. Slow down. Breathe. Ground yourself. Give your nervous system time to recalibrate. Third, inquiry. Ask yourself, what wound is this touching? What story am I telling myself? Is this actually about right now or about the past? Fourth, choice. Choose your response, not from survival, not from fear, but from the calm, grounded, whole version of yourself. Fifth, integration. Do the inner work. Process the unresolved pain. Heal the wounds so they stop running your life. This is emotional sovereignty. This is inner peace. This is how you become untouchable, not by building walls, but by healing the wounds that made you vulnerable in the first place. You've spent years reacting to the world, letting other people's behavior dictate your emotional state, giving away your power without realizing it. But now you know the truth. The triggers aren't the problem. The unhealed parts of you are, and those can be healed. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming free. Free to feel without being consumed. Free to love without losing yourself. Free to move through the world with stillness, clarity, and power. You are not broken. You never were. You were just responding to what you were given. Now, you get to choose something different.